Hey guys, I'm here with David Bond. He's a fellow YouTuber and digital nomad, more in the pickup and dating space. But today we're not really going to be talking about pickup. I'm, as you know, you all watching, interested in funding a life of travel and adventure, like we are. We're going to talk more about that and the business side of what David does. Regardless of how you view what he does on his channel, he's managed to, use the media coverage, use his videos, and has an online business that fuels his adventurous life. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you. Good to be here. Excited to be on one of the channels that I love to watch. I've been watching Chris probably from the beginning. I remember when you first started. And it's been awesome to watch you grow. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a service I subscribe to called TubeBuddy, and it allows me to look at how many views and subscribers per month compared to someone else.
Yeah.
So I can see how you're doing compared to me.
Yeah.
And you've just been blowing me out of the water on monthly per month subscriber gain.
Unlike growth.
Yeah. You've been growing really fast, where I think you had like one month you had like 2,000 subscriber increase, and I had like 500 or something. Not that it's not a competition, but it's interesting to see.
Oh yeah.
Here you are.
I'm definitely keeping a pulse on other YouTubers as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's nothing negative at all. It's just kind of like, I think that's part of being a successful YouTuber, is seeing what other people are doing and learning from that. Exactly, and I'm always looking at ways to improve this channel and reach more people. But one of the things I like to do is go into the backstory, like how'd you get to where you are today? And I know you got a pretty interesting story. So yeah, I'd love for you to share that with the audience.
Yeah, so in early 2014, I was working at a hospital as a computer technician, and I actually had a bit of a dispute with my job, because for the first time in 3.5 years, I wanted to take a vacation.
Yeah.
First time in 3.5 years. And I had a buddy who was a poker friend, and he had showed interest in traveling to Japan. And I thought that sounded really exciting. And so I put the request in, and my work said no. And I was like, damn it, this sucks. And so they said, why don't you ask in a couple weeks? I asked in a couple weeks, they said no. And I was doing everything right. I wasn't putting in a 30-day notice, I put in a 2-month notice. Yeah. And I was so emotionally expecting to do this crazy thing that when they said no, it was really frustrating. And my employer started to give me very, very insulting reasons why I can't do it. They're like, oh, I might have a barbecue that month. And I'm like, are you kidding? You're gonna deny my vacation because you might? Basically they were being really patronizing. And I had this kind of moment where I was really frustrated, and I wanted to do something big, but I've never even tried to do something big, and I was being denied. And I remember having a conversation with my coworker, and he said, dude, you could just quit and then live on your savings, because I had some money saved.
Yeah.
And I thought that was crazy, the idea of quitting your job with no plan. But I still had this desire to do something big. So what I actually did was I went skydiving for the first time. Well, the skydive was so emotionally impactful because it was the first time I had ever entered an airplane. I was 27 years old, and my first airplane ride was a skydive. And of course, as soon as I land on the floor, I'm gonna start crying. It was like adrenaline rush of my life. And that was on a Friday, and on Monday I quit because I was so pumped up by the skydive. I was like, you know what? He's right. I could do this. So I quit my job. I did some traveling, and then I came back and I had no money left.
Yeah.
Well, I had a YouTube channel, but I didn't really do anything with it. And kind of the way that I kind of got started with things is I had a video that went viral. It was a controversial video. It actually made the news in Hong Kong. And my YouTube channel got, a little bit of activity going. I had 3.5 million views, flooding my channel within the course of 3 weeks. My subscriber count went from 0 to 5,000 at the time.
Wow.
And I was like, this is really scary because they're saying I'm a bad guy. Well, fast forward a bit, and I started to embrace this kind of villain character that the media was painting me out to be.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a job at a carrot factory. Well, I was working IT. I was still doing help desk.
Oh, okay.
But, and so for a whole year, I was working as an IT guy again.
Yeah.
And I remember being obsessed with getting my old lifestyle back. I was like obsessed. I had photos of all my travel stuff on my desk. So literally every day, all I could think about was that awesome year I spent traveling on savings alone. And I had this idea. I'm like, well, what if I had a website where I could sell people access to my YouTube videos, but like they would be longer, and maybe I could, all the media attention I got, maybe I could like try to get it again.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, if I get media attention again, maybe I could get people to buy stuff. So what I did was I set up a site called The Vault, and this is where the story gets kind of weird. It gets kind of controversial.
Yeah.
I wanted to make money online, but I didn't know how to do it. So I made The Vault, and then I paid virtual assistants to go to the media outlets that covered me, and I paid them to message them and leave comments and just spread all these lies about me. I'm like, David Bond started a sex site. He's selling porno clips, and it's so bad. Then I launched, then I started uploading more videos that were edited in a way that really would provoke, and it worked. All the media outlets that covered me from last year cover me again, and they said, David Bond is back. He made another video. Look at this crazy shit. They put me in a magazine, and they blew me up again. It lasted about 4 days, but I made like $2,000 in a day. Yeah. That was selling $15 subscription, like $2,000, pretty good, right? I remember waking up one day and my PayPal was like, ooh, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And they're like, they fell for my trick. I basically tricked them into talking about me again.
Yeah.
Well, my subscriber count started to grow, and I kept working at my carrot factory. And this is the part where my mind started to get focused on business, when I noticed that my little experiment that worked, it died. It went from, I made a lot of money, then it went nothing. But I still was getting like 3 or 5 or 7 signups a month. Yeah. Random people who found my vault would sign up, and I'm like, who are these people signing up for this ghetto site that has like 30 videos on it? But I was wondering, I'm like, well, if I made this site once, I spent one-time money, one-time effort, and now for a whole year, I've been getting trickles of little sales. It's like, what if I made another website? But instead I made it really expensive, and I made it nice. I made it a good one. So that's when I made the Japan Guide. The Japan Guide is the idiot's guide to getting laid in Japan. And what inspired this was when I went to Japan on my vacation. I was working at the carrot factory, and they actually gave me a vacation. I went to Japan, and what inspired the Japan Guide was I had a buddy who is really good with girls, but when he went into Japan, he struggled a lot. He didn't know how to figure out Japanese girls. He couldn't figure it out. Yeah. And I remember sitting him down. I'm like, yo, okay, this is what we're gonna talk about. And I gave him all this advice, and I talked for like an hour. And he applied everything that I taught him, and then he went out and he started meeting girls, and he started getting laid, and it was awesome. And he's like, dude, you should I wish I could record you when you were telling me all this stuff, because I did everything you said and everything started working. Because what he was doing is he was trying this Western style, unculturally adjusted pickup style, but he was doing it in a foreign country and it wasn't working. And it gave me the idea, well, what if I did make a guide? So I made the Japan Guide, and I said, well, it worked before, why don't I do it again? And I paid virtual assistants to do the same thing, and it blew up again. And so essentially what I'm doing is I found outlets that covered me in a bad light. And I thought, if they covered me before, they'll cover me again. I just have to give them more meat to throw at them. So I launched a Japan Guide. I started uploading videos of me picking up Japanese girls. I edited it in such a way that made it really interesting, and they covered it. But this time the West covered it, like anti-racism and like social justice warrior people, and like liberal outlets covered me, like, oh, look at this douchey white guy teaching foreigners how to harass women and stuff, But the bottom line was, when I actually look at the analytics data for my sales, it's like 80 to 90% is all from Asian men.
Yeah.
I thought I was marketing to like not Asian guys, but it's all Asian guys who love my shit, right?
Okay.
Now,
Interesting.
the point where I actually decided to go full all in was when the Japan Guide launched. The news outlets were covering me. Now this time it wasn't a $15 product; it was a $67 product with an upsell on the inside. So there's a $27 upsell. Well, for about a month and a half, I was making equal or double per month at my Japan Guide than I was my job.
Wow.
Yeah, I did like. I made like $20,000.
So this was after you came back from Japan and you were doing this while you were working.
Exactly. And if you want to know a dirty secret, I made the Japan Guide while I was at work. So my job decided to give me night shift.
Yeah.
And night shift is 4 p.m. to like 1 a.m. or something like that. So I'm in a carrot factory alone. So like if you watch the Japan Guide, you'll notice I'm in an office, like on the first half of it. It's because I'm at night shift in a carrot factory recording with the phone, and I'm just like, I brought my external hard drives and I just started editing on my computer, like at work. I brought my laptop to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting paid at work to make the Japan Guide, right? And yeah, I launched it. It did really well at the beginning, and then now it still sells like crazy, but it's like the beginning was really crazy. And I was like, okay, I think I can try to do this. I can take advantage of this David Bond thing I've created. So I launched the Thailand Guide, and at this point, the Thailand Guide, the Japan Guide, and the Vault, for the past, I guess it's been a year at this point, have been able to support me, beyond what I even need to be making or whatever. I make plenty of money from those things, and I'll be launching some new products soon at some point. But yeah, my channel went from 0 to like 28,000 subscribers in maybe like in the span of a year and a half or something like that.
Wow.
And yeah, so now I'm kind of living my dream, I guess, because I just make videos, which are videos that I already was making, and I'm making guides on topics that I already love to talk about, or, you know what I mean? So, and
So it's an unusual passion, I guess, but you are following your passion.
Yeah, I mean, I literally am making a living by being a weird guy who wears a GoPro on his head.
Yeah.
Like in a way.
Yeah, because that's in all bunch
like
of your photos is like you wearing a GoPro on your
And that's how it all started, because at first, a buddy of mine said, dude, I dare you to approach a girl with a GoPro on your head. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
So I did it. And then I posted the video, it was like 2 minutes. And the girl didn't like me, but when I posted it on the forum, everyone's like, dude, this is so funny, you should do it again.
Yeah.
So me and Rob, we popped Adderall, and we did like 9 hours straight of GoPro on the head. Okay. So we ran around Santa Monica, we went to malls, and we just approached billions of girls, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I posted this 40-minute long YouTube video of just like GoPro, and then people loved it. And this is way before I even had a channel. Yeah. I would share this on some random.
This is the beginnings.
This was on a channel that wasn't even. It was like, how you have your generic YouTube channel that has nothing on it.
Yeah.
Like that was my channel before. It just was like QXDC, like no videos, no subscribers. But I would share the videos on Unlisted.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that kind of seeded the videos that kind of blew up, and yeah. So basically, that's kind of what I do, I guess. Just be a weird guy with the GoPro. But what's cool about it though is it shows that with the power of the internet, and with the power of the internet, you can make anything a business in a way.
Yeah.
Like don't let your limited mind stop you from pursuing something that's might be a little bit different, because there's billions of people out there, and with the internet, everyone's connected. I mean, the marketplace is the world. Whereas like right now we're in a shop, right? Well, when you think of a brick and mortar business, this is something a friend of mine told me that always stuck with me. An actual business, like a physical business, has the limit of location. Their traffic can only be these people.
Yeah.
Right? They're limited by hours, because half the day, or at nighttime, it's closed. Even if millions of people wanted to come in and buy their stuff, they have a limitation of stock and limitation of chairs.
Yeah.
There's all these limits on physical businesses that are real, but the internet, there's no limit, right? Right now, my business is open all the time, and my traffic is the world.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, the power of having a business online versus a physical business is just, it's not even relatable. It's like, you know, 24/7, no limitation, globe versus 8-hour day, traffic, just this, you know what I mean? So, you know, I think my story kind of proves that even something a little weird or something a little silly, a little niche, you might say, can work. So.
All right, well, one of the things in your story that was interesting is the whole media thing and using the media to your advantage. And I'm sure a lot of people, given that much hate on the media, would have been like, oh, I don't like this, oh, like I feel so bad, and maybe have retreated into a shell, whereas you used it to your advantage. I wonder if you've, it kind of reminds me, I think it was Ryan Holiday who helped Tucker Max with his publicity, and he did a similar thing. I think I heard it in a podcast or something where, you know, this using the media in a negative way, because Tucker Max, you know, his book was about similar things, debauchery. And,
yes. So actually, Ryan Holiday's book, actually, I've read it and it's great. And the story you probably are referring to is he had a billboard.
Jeez.
That's what I was blowing away earlier. Oh, wait. Dude, that's so big. It's so scary. Fuck off.
Oh, shit. Wait, we're at the fire here. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I hate these big shitty bugs.
You can tell this video is uncut.
Yeah, so the Ryan Holiday book was called Trust Me, I'm Lying. And like one of the stories was Tucker Max wanted to promote his book. And what he did was he bought billboards.
Yeah.
And then he paid someone to deface the billboard.
Oh, okay.
And then had someone leak the story that feminists defaced the billboard.
Yeah.
So basically they had a billboard that they messed up, and then they lied to the media and said, oh my God, feminists are so pissed.
Yeah.
And then the media said, people don't want you to watch this movie, or the people don't want you to buy this book.
Yeah.
Another thing they did was they made Facebook groups. They made a Facebook feminist. Fucking hell! Yo, is it back? Are you kidding me? Dude, it's back. Okay, I'm gonna fucking hit this guy.
It's gone.
Okay. They would infiltrate feminist groups on Facebook and then create fake protest meetup groups. Like, oh, we're gonna all meet up and protest this book. Yeah. So it was fake. It was men pretending to be feminists, but the feminists were like, okay, we'll go too. And then real feminists started protesting it.
Yeah.
So they basically tricked feminists into, so a similarity, so in my case, the question was, how did I feel when I did this at the first time, or what was the question?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm giving you props for handling the attention so well and using it to your advantage, I guess.
Yeah, so at the beginning, I'll tell you when the switch went off in my head. When the switch went off in my head to go from being like, wait a second, hey guys, let me explain myself, let me defend myself, to, okay, fine, you want fucking David Bond? You're gonna get David Bond.
Yeah.
Because what they did is they painted me as a predator.
Yeah.
And I don't think of myself as a predator, but it was during an interview with Face Magazine, which is a Taiwan or a Hong Kong magazine. They interviewed me, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. You know, this is the truth. This is what happened, and we're not really bad guys. And I explained, and I just explaining myself.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, what about this? What about this?
Random firecrackers going off in the boat over there.
Holy shit. Dude, it looked like they shot a bird.
No, I think that was just like debris from the firecrackers. There is so much. This is Pattaya, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to Pattaya.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a hooker come over to us in like 5 minutes. So,
Just joking.
yeah, that'll be 10 minutes, not 5 minutes. I did this interview with Face Magazine, and by the way, if you guys want to read more about the media manipulation, I have an article called "How I Make a Living Manipulating the Media" or something like that.
Okay.
It's on Nextshark magazine or nextshark.com.
So that's on the internet.
Yeah, Nextshark is like an Asian like an Asian promoting website.
We'll link that in the description, guys.
And I had this huge article where I reveal everything, how I did it. Well, I did this long interview and I gave them these long answers. I was really being like defensive and like trying to clear my name. And then they asked me a sexual question. They're like, why do you have KY? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, did you ever fuck a Chinese girl in the ass? And I'm like, no. And they're like, have you ever done that? I'm like, what kind of question is this, you know?
Yeah.
This magazine is wanting to interview me about the story, and they just randomly start interviewing me about sex stuff.
Yeah.
So finally I'm like, yeah, I've done that before. And then when I read the article they published, all the stuff I said wasn't in there. It was only like, we interviewed David Bond, he confessed that he made the video, and he said that he's had sex with girls in their butt. Oh, like, it was insane. Like, I did this huge interview.
Yeah.
And they didn't include anything I said, only the sexual stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, so at that point I'm like, wait a second, they don't even want the truth.
Yeah.
They just want traffic. They want a story. They have a narrative that there's a predator Western guy, and they only took the parts that fit the narrative. And I was like, these jerks, right? And that's when I flipped in my head. I'm like, okay, you guys want a predator? I'll give you a predator. Yeah. And that's when I started to develop the David Bond brand to look like a predator. That's why my intro was like scary music and like the guy, because I thought, dude, this is perfect. I'm giving the media outlets what they want, because what they gave me was insane amounts of traffic.
Yeah.
So it was like this weird unhealthy relationship where I'm giving them a character that they can use to scare their audience or whatever. Now, well, I thought, okay, that's cool, but why don't I put a product, attach it to the brand? That way, when they give me media attention, you know, maybe like 10% of the traffic that goes to my shit buys this stuff, and that happens. So like, another example is the Korean media covers me, and I did the same exact thing before. I, faked them out. I made a fake trailer for a fake guide that doesn't exist called the Korea Guide.
Okay.
So the Korean media, some blogs talked about me, and I was like noticing it because all these Korean comments, and I started tracking the data, tracking the analytics. I was like, why don't I make a fake Korea Guide and make them talk about me more? So I photoshopped a plane ticket of me going to Korea. It was a plane ticket. I just made it say Korea.
Yeah.
And then I said KoreaByDavidBond.com. I registered the domain, and I made a fake trailer. It was like scary music and like time lapses of Korea, and like at the end you heard a girl like moaning.
Okay.
And they're like, oh my God, he's coming to Korea. He's making a Korea guide.
Yeah.
And then boom, video got like 25,000 views in like 2 hours. And then within 3 days, I'm on TV. Like on
Footage of you was on TV.
Like news reporters are having round table discussions with me as the subject.
Yeah.
And they covered me for about like 5 days, and I got like 2 million unique hits on all my stuff.
Yeah.
And I made like $7,000, $8,000 in like 2 weeks. Because now, instead of just getting hate, some of the people who come to hate will buy the stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, if you're some bored Korean businessman who's browsing the internet, and then you hear about some guy and your Korean media is saying there's a bad Western guy who picks up chicks, and then he has these sexy videos that he sells, and you're some bored, you're like, really? Click, 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 click. And then, you might go into the vault and you're like, wait a second, this is just like him riding a motorbike in Taiwan and him giggling. Like, the videos are all this innocent. But the media lied, and then, okay, whatever, you spent your money and you just go on browsing. There's like thousands of people that do that. Yeah. They hear the stupid story, they buy the thing, and then they realize, or they subscribe to the channel, and then what happens is over time they become a fan. Now, all of this is behind me, by the way. I don't do the media stuff anymore because, first of all, I revealed my tricks. I wrote an article revealing what I did and how I did it. And I think my audience is grown at a point where I don't need to rely on that. And I kind of want to move a little bit towards more like less controversial types of content.
Yeah.
Just because, let's be honest, like I can't scale, like being a villain can't be scaled because like there's a point where I'm so well known that it's, you know what I mean? Like if I continue to be the bad David Bond guy, well, there's going to be a point where girls are going to recognize me all the time, and it's like you can't scale that all the way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. It's because, like you said, a lot of people followed your stuff, and it was mainly driven by like hate or a bad perception. And inevitably, when you have that much volume, you're going to get some people that buy. But I guess you want the traffic to probably be more quality, like people coming to you because they, see you as an authority and they like your stuff, rather than start at the starting position of hating you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, like right now, what I would say though is like how I started is a really weird and really, it's difficult to replicate how I started it. But I'll tell you one thing is what I've learned along this journey is really the value to me. So, for example, people always ask me, hey, I want to start a YouTube channel. What should I do? People say, hey, I want to start a business online. I have a YouTube channel. My thing is, look, if you want to start a YouTube channel, just make videos that you like about topics you like, and don't be super strict about what direction you want it to go. Instead, make videos that you love to make about topics you love to talk about. And when the audience starts to ask the same questions over and over and over, your audience will help you in what you can create to sell them.
Yeah.
So for example, in Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crush It, have you read that?
Yep.
He talks about the guy who's obsessed with worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like let's say you had a YouTube channel that was just so stupid it was about worms. Like that's something that is easily hard to imagine be a business.
Yeah.
Well, who knows? What if you just talk about worms all the time and you're recording these worms and you're talking about this, and then maybe like your audience will start asking questions and they're really into it. You could have a little worm ebook, like the catalog of the worms of the California. I don't know. Who knows? The point is, let your audience help you decide what to create to sell them, instead of like. That's kind of what I did. So I didn't say, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, I'm gonna start a business. I just was like, I just like to make videos, that's cool. And the more videos I made, the more questions I got. And the more questions I got, the more I started to realize like, damn, I'm getting the same question over and over and over.
Yeah.
And my first attempt at a product was my ebook. And the ebook was called 2 Week Notice. How I traveled with no job and you can too. It's a very clickbaity sounding book, right? How I travel with no job and you can too. And the book was all about how I was able to budget and save money and manage my money. Talks about how to find friends. Like it was a pretty cool little ebook, right? But the reason I wrote that was because my audience kept asking me the same questions over and over and over.
Yeah.
And your audience they're your best friends because they're the ones who will tell you what they want. You know what I mean? So in your case, your coding book, which I haven't read it at all. I don't really care to read it. Like it's coding. I don't really know coding. I'm too dumb for coding. But what you did was clever. You're like, hey, I'm getting a lot of questions because this video is getting a lot of traffic. And so you saw some demand for something. They were looking to you for answers. So you put the answers in a easily digestible, convenient capsule. You put a little price tag on it, and so everyone wins. And that strategy is way smarter, I feel, than like starting with a product, or you know what I'm saying, like starting with a plan. Like I think it's better just to kind of just share what you love, share what you're about. Maybe you love to fix cars, maybe you love to maybe you're obsessed with like there's this guy I follow on YouTube. He does a drone, these fast drones. He builds drones and stuff.
Okay.
And he loves that, so he could talk forever. And I'm pretty sure if he had some, like the drone guide or something, like the best drone, I don't know, like he could make something. So
yeah. So you talked a bit about your tips for people in starting a YouTube channel, and that was actually going to be one of my questions is how do you suggest, newbies go about it? And, people watching us, they can look at what we're doing, and that can be a pathway for them on YouTube.
Yeah.
But, some people don't want their face on YouTube. Some people want to go about it in different ways, or maybe they're not good on camera, or they're not good with video, or that's just not their thing. So just in general, for somebody like speaking to your former self, like when you're in the cubicle, and maybe, your former self without the liking to make the videos, how would you say to somebody, just a generic person in the office, to get out of that and into a life of travel?
Well, as far as I'll speak to like someone who wants to start a YouTube channel, Casey Neistat has a great quote. He's like, just keep uploading, which is the idea of like focus on just making more videos. Yeah. And that sounds like really dumb, really trivial, but there's a little bit of truth to that. Is if you focus on the content, focus on making videos, and one of the problems that people have with YouTube is they want to be a perfectionist from the beginning. They want to do everything right at the beginning, and you want to think of YouTube, being a YouTuber or starting a YouTube channel, or really anything like riding a bike. I always use riding a bike as an analogy. Like when you learn how to ride a bike, how many how to ride a bike books did you read?
Yeah, 0.
About 0, right? And how many manuals? You know what I mean? Like you just get on.
Yeah.
You get on, you fall, and that's usually the best way to learn stuff. And because you're going to learn faster just by doing it. And I feel like people, they get too obsessed with, they'll start a YouTube channel and they'll make 3 videos and they'll be like looking at the views and like going like, how can I grow? It's like, what are you doing, dude? It's like getting on a bike for the first time and then being all obsessed with like, how do you mountain bike? Like, no, you should just get on, make some videos, just keep making videos. You'll learn how to edit. People always ask, how do I edit it? What's the best software? I don't know. Why don't you just start editing and just learn?
In anything. Use iMovie.
Yeah. Just make a video first.
Yeah.
Oi. Is it big or small? Fucking, oh my God.
It's a dark one.
Starting a YouTube channel.
Yeah. No, but what about people who don't want to do video? I would say that.
Oh yeah.
I would say that you got to be putting out some sort of content to start with, right? Like,
well, there's YouTubers who don't show their face. For example, should the flippy screen be up?
Oh. Yeah.
It was just kind of nice to see that. I know YouTubers who what they do is they record and they just put their voiceover stuff. But look, if you want to get better in front of the camera, again, it's like riding a bike. You just do it. Everyone is going to be lame at the beginning. But in general, it would just be keep making videos, focus on making videos, focus on the content. Don't focus on, your thumbnails and all this stuff. Like that's important, but that's like the 20%, not the 80%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you watch someone's channel because they have videos that you want to watch. You don't watch their channel because their thumbnail's good or their title is nice. It's the video. So focus on the video. Focus on making whatever it is your topic is or whatever your content is. Just keep doing it and don't be afraid to change the direction you go. Here's a piece of advice. If you have a YouTube channel, don't name your channel something so specific. Like, like in your case, it's good that you're Chris the Freelancer and not like Chris Chiang Mai Man, because then you're stuck to the Chiang Mai topic.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have another buddy. He has a channel on teaching English.
Yeah.
He didn't name it Teach English in Korea. He named it Ninja Teacher. So you want to have the name of your channel or the name
Alex.
of you. Yeah. You want it to be broad enough where you can move outside of. You can float around with topics and content. Does that make sense? What was the other question?
So your tips are basically blast out content that you enjoy and see where that leads you. I mean, that's what's worked for you. It's what's worked for me as well outside of freelancing, like with this whole YouTube channel and the website and all that.
Well, here's the thing. You have a direction and you probably had a plan, but you kept making videos. You didn't make 3 videos and then like stop and like start asking questions about it. We just keep getting more and more stuff going on.
What is that?
Dogs fighting, bumblebees, boats shooting fireworks. It's okay. Is you just keep uploading, you keep going, and like that's the heart of what I'm really talking about. Is just keep uploading, just keep making stuff. You know, maybe you have a video that kind of sucks. Upload it. Guess what? You can make another one. Have another one. A lot of videos that my fans like the most are the videos that I don't even want on my channel. Like there's a video where I approach this girl, she works at Hooters, and she rejects me and I look dumb. But I had two guys that met me last night and they said, dude, we love the video where you go up to the Hooters girl. I'm like, why? It's like short. She doesn't give me her number and it's boring. I'm cringy. It's like, she's like, I don't know, man. I just like it because she was so beautiful and I just love that you had the balls to do it. And I've watched it so many times. I'm like, what? Right? So like the content that you think is good or having high standards for what you're willing to put out there may be a mistake because you might put content that maybe you aren't super proud of, but if you just keep uploading, don't focus, don't be a perfectionist, don't be all anal about dumb little things like, you know, the thumbnail and let me refresh how many views. Like, don't pay attention to that. Just make content, keep going, and you'll grow naturally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, the analogy of riding the bike, I think, is a pretty good one. You know, like, when you get on a bike, you don't like ride it once and then wobble and then like get off and be like, okay, how many minutes was that? Okay, that was 30 seconds. Okay. You don't do that. You just do it. Whoa. You don't even think about your progress. You just keep trying, right? You just keep riding the bike. And then you just start enjoying riding the bike. And then maybe once you got to get comfortable, that's when you can start focusing on how many miles did I ride today? You don't focus on that at the beginning. That's a mistake. I think it's good just to get your feet wet, get out there, keep making content, just keep uploading, you know? At least that's the approach that I kind of like.
Okay.
But that's just my personality. So, you know, obviously if you're someone who needs a plan, I mean, maybe, you know, just take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of.
And in terms of the travel stuff, you were telling me earlier about a new product that you're releasing called Travel Toolkit, which is going to be all the things that you've learned over the last few years about long-term travel. Do you want to talk about that for a bit?
My Travel Toolkit is basically a complete guide to someone who's interested in long-term travel. Basically, when I started traveling at the beginning, I was fortunate enough to meet some guys who've been doing the whole digital nomad, the whole traveling, working online thing for a long time. And I was fortunate enough to meet guys like them because they would teach me all these things. They taught me about SIM cards, how to research, you know, find foreign apartments in foreign countries. They talked about, they taught me visa stuff, all these things I didn't know. And it's been, you know, maybe like a couple years, and my Travel Toolkit is basically a compilation of everything I could possibly tell you in terms of advice and help and assistance and information about what you should do before embarking on a long-term travel. So to give an example of what's in the Travel Toolkit, I talk about the best way to find flights. I talk about the myth of, you know, getting a better deal on a flight by booking months in advance. I show that to be like kind of a myth. I talk about getting one-way tickets versus getting round trip. And one of the things that is a downside of the one-way ticket life is some countries require that you have proof of exit. You have to have a proof of leaving the country to enter.
Onward travel.
So in my Travel Toolkit, since I'm advocating one-way tickets, how do you overcome this problem? Well, there are services online where you pay a small amount, like $8, $9, and they'll actually buy a ticket in your name and give you the itinerary, and then they refund it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
So instead of you having to buy some random ticket that's like $100, $200, you just pay $9. They basically give you a fake ticket, and you can use that to go in countries that require an exit ticket. I also talk about ways you can expedite your passport. So most people, to get a passport, how long do you think it takes? Maybe like a month and a half?
I have no idea.
Well, in the US, it takes about a month and a half because you have to put in, well, I got mine in 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, do you know how I got that? It's because the passport agencies treat you differently if you have proof of travel. Well, you can use these online services that generate tickets in your name as proof of travel. So whenever I went to the passport agency, or the passport office in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
they won't even let you have an appointment unless you have a plane ticket
Yeah.
to qualify for the expedited services. So normally to get a passport, it's like $80, but if you pay like $200, you can be expedited. But there's different tiers of expedited, right? So like one of them is you get it instantly, which is what I got.
Yeah.
And then the one is you have to wait like 2 weeks to a month. And then like the next one's like 2 months. Well, if you can prove that you have a plane ticket where you're leaving within less than 2 weeks, then you get pushed in the front of the line because they know it's serious.
Oh.
So you can use one of these online resources that I refer to in my travel toolkit, put it in your name, print the ticket, get your passport in just 2 hours, bam, you know? That's just an example of something that I learned while traveling with other guys who do this all the time. And another thing I talk about is how to find cheap apartments in foreign countries. So for example, one of the problems that people have when they're traveling is finding an accommodation that's like a reasonable price. So I know you went to Vietnam recently, and you guys were kind of walking around looking for apartments. Well, one of the problems with finding apartments in foreign countries is if you want to do research online, you're going to type in English, and the results are going to be in English. Well, if you're in Thailand, there's going to be Google Maps results or search results that are in Thai, but you don't know Thai. So how do you find the apartment that's in Thai? How do you find the Thai website for Thai people or whatever, right? And in my travel toolkit, I talk about how to do that. I talk about how to find foreign apartments in foreign countries, how to use online resources, how to use locals, how to use girls. You can actually use dating sites to assist with finding certain places like cheap apartments and stuff.
Okay.
I talk about basically I share all the tips and tricks that I use personally that allow me to travel as long as I can, as cheap as I can. You know, a lot of people are impressed by some of the little quirky apartments that I find.
Yeah.
And there's a little method to the madness. I have a system for how I do that. I don't just go to kayak and I don't just
I think with long-term travel, if you try and approach it as you would short-term travel, you're gonna fail at it unless you've got a lot of money in the bank, because
that's what makes people think traveling is expensive, is because they travel like an amateur, and they treat a country the same way that they treat their little 2-day vacation to the beach.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, let's just get a hotel and let's rush through all the most touristy shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? If you're on a budget or you're wanting your money to last, that's not going to be optimal, especially for a month.
Yeah.
So my travel toolkit basically gives you the tools to achieve, the closest thing you can to getting a long-term vagabond lifestyle, whether it be 1 month or 6 months. I talk about find apartments in foreign countries. I talk about visa stuff. I talk about ATM. I talk about travel rewards, credit cards. I talk about SIM cards. I talk about it's just packed with just everything.
Okay. Well, yeah. If you guys want to check that out, it will be a link in the description. Finishing on the travel stuff. Let's talk directly to the person who's in the cubicle, who wants to travel. Maybe they don't have savings like you had.
Yeah.
What is your advice to these people to have a long-term travel experience? Is it just to learn how to save money so you can take a break?
Well, to be honest, people love to discredit the idea of saving money as a way to travel, and that's totally silly. Saving money, first of all, if you have a job, that in itself is amazing. That means you have a steady income, and you can do something with that. You can adjust your lifestyle. You can change how you spend your money. You can save your money. There's different things you can do, but people love to discredit this idea of actually just saving money to get your feet wet with travel. And the only reason that people make fun of it is because no one knows how to save money. It has nothing to do with, I funded my first year on savings, and people go, oh, I can never do that because I don't have any savings. Well, yeah, you do have you could have had savings if you just made different choices,
Yeah.
right? So I think if you're someone who is wanting this lifestyle, there's two different ways. You can work really hard to achieve some kind of online source of income, which is hard and tricky, or you could just do what I did at the beginning, which was change my lifestyle, minimize, live as cheap as I can, save up, maybe you could save up $10,000, $20,000, $5,000, whatever you can, and get your feet wet. Go out there and get a taste of traveling for a long duration of time, because once you get that taste, once you feel it and you actually experience it, it will change your life. And that sounds like cheesy, but it's true. Whenever I quit my job originally and did the traveling thing, I could not stop thinking about it. And because I couldn't stop thinking about it, that kind of put the fuel to ignite the fire for my creativity that I'm using today to fund my lifestyle, because my creativity is what inspired my ideas to do what I'm doing now, right? Yeah. So don't discredit the idea of just saving up some money and spending 2 months in Thailand or whatever, or whatever you want to do, because yes, you'll have to come back, but the thing is, the experience you have, first of all, will be amazing, and you'll be so much more inspired when you get back. You'll be so much more awake when you get back, that can actually lay the foundation for you to build on later. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And as the battery's dying, I think this is a good place to end it. Yeah. David, thanks so much for doing the interview and sharing all that good stuff. If you want to check out my travel toolkit, his travel toolkit, the link will be in the description when that's available. I think it's been a really interesting talk. Thanks again. And head over to David's channel if you're interested in meeting women, if that's you. I won't say anything about that, but if you want to check that out, go ahead. Stay tuned to the channel. More interviews, vlogs, and content about, living a long-term travel lifestyle. So awesome. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
I spent almost a decade trying to figure out how I can work remotely and live location independently and enjoy my job, because I didn't want to wait till 65 to retire and be miserable.